Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast. This podcast is ran by two ladies who play games, mumble profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and we are hoping you all have a holly jolly Christmas season. Welcome to the first Christmas episode of the Wheel of Crime podcast. Woo!
That was more spooky, but...
How spooky.
That was very spooky. I can't make...
The ghost of Christmas past.
Yes. I can't make a bell sound with my mouth, so that's the best we're going to get. Ting.
Yeah.
Ting.
Ding dong.
Ding dong.
The Wicked Witch is dead.
Ding dong. Yep.
Well, how's it going, Em? Have you started your holiday shopping yet?
I have, but it's been crazy. So for our listeners who are maybe not from Canada, Canada Post has just... I don't understand. They went on strike like a month ago. And truthfully, I think at the time I was a little bit delusional still. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's just going to be on strike for a couple weeks. It is ongoing. It's still happening. So I have a decent chunk of my Christmas shopping being held hostage by Canada Post right now, which honestly, I've grieved about it. I've done my whole what's it called? The 5 stages of grief. I've already been through that. I'm past it now. I'm in acceptance. I rebought some Christmas gifts through Amazon. But I don't know, man. Amazon is just like so fucking weird when it comes to just stuff. Well, here's the thing. So I used Black Friday week because Amazon does like a week of like sales for that, and then Cyber Monday to just buy what I figure and go from there, you know. But
as you do, might as well get it 30% off if you can.
That's what I'm saying. But here's the thing. So I bought everything, and at the time it was like, oh, okay. Because I'm a Prime member, and normally that's like 1 to 2 days, you know, that you're waiting for stuff. But everything that I had was like, oh, should be shipping in by like December 14th, December 18th, December 19th, December 20th. And I was like, oh, okay, must just be like crazy in the Amazon warehouse right now. You know, people just firing packages around all over the place. So gotta give them a couple weeks. But then today I had to go, there was just like a couple random things where I was like, oh, like we have like a neighbor that like when they're outside, leaf blows our sidewalk and shovels our sidewalk for us and just does some like nice things. And I was like, oh, like maybe I'll get them like some nice chocolates or something. Ordered those from Amazon. They're getting delivered tomorrow. And then I had to buy something else like for like my husband and my cats. And same thing. Next day delivery. And I was like, what is happening? So I can get like a box of chocolates and some other random things literally tomorrow, but I have to wait a whole week to 2 weeks for everything else, and I don't understand why.
Okay, so I wanted to save this conversation for the podcast because I'm having the exact same issue, and I feel like I'm curious as if our listeners have the same problem, because I did the exact same thing. You know, ordered all my Christmas gifts, and on like a bunch on Amazon because of the Canada Post thing, and I was like, certain things you just like can't get in store, so your option is ordering them online. And normally I would pick a local place or like Canadian place if I could, but right now it's just not possible. You know, like I need this stuff before February.
Quite literally my own thought process, because I tried looking at places and they only will ship through Canada Post, and they're like, oh, unfortunately we're not offering online deliveries right now. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with that? Like,
I know. So I'm like, well, whatever. I have a Prime membership too, so I was like, I'll just fucking order it on Amazon. Like, fuck you, Jeff Bezos, I guess.
Fuck you, fuck
and
me.
Literally,
we're having Christmas this year. Yeah.
It's so random because one of the things I ordered for you, when I checked out, it was like 2-day delivery. And I live in a big city, okay? Like, there's a fucking Amazon warehouse in my city.
Yep.
I'm sorry, it shouldn't take like 4 weeks, you know? So one of the things I ordered for you, it was like 2-day delivery. I was like, sweet, normal, whatever. And then I looked the next day and it was like, should arrive by December 24th. And I'm like, the fuck?
Literally.
Because with that,
Everything I bought was like, oh, like I said, it's like, oh, but next day delivery, 2-day delivery. All of a sudden I checked, it's the 14th. Now it's been pushed to the 19th for some things. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But like I said, then stuff I'm buying today, it's literally shipped already. It's on its way to my house. And I was like,
I know.
Like, what? Like, so what? My 50 whatever items I've ordered online. Well, it feels like it. I have no idea how many things I ordered. But, like, they're apparently going to get delivered in 2 weeks. But, like, my random 1 or 2, 3, 4 things that I need for my house are getting delivered tomorrow. I just don't understand what's going on.
I know. I literally ordered more poop bags for Dewey and mouthwash, and it's like, sorry, January 7th. But then I ordered like a new water dish for him, and it was like here before the end of the day, and I'm like, hello?
Yeah.
But poop bags take a month?
Literally lotion for my husband because he has dry ankles or something. Same fucking thing. And I was like, what is happening? Or like, what? Yeah, so the chocolates are apparently going to be here by the end of the day, either today or tomorrow, which is fabulous, I guess. But like, yeah, lotion for my husband. Now I gotta wait a month. What else do I gotta wait a month for? Other random fucking
He's gotta have crispy ankles for a month.
Yeah, he's gotta just run around with his dry little ankles for a month because apparently Amazon ain't got no lotion. All out for Christmas. Yeah, so I don't understand what that's about. Because I refuse to believe that if you could next day ship me from an Amazon warehouse other random things, that you do not have the rest of those things. So why is it taking 2 weeks?
Literally. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I didn't order anything that crazy for Christmas. I ordered like, I would say normal items, you know? Like my mom wanted an electric cleaning brush, like one of those like hand ones or whatever that just like spins and cleans for you. And it's like, yeah, that'll be here tomorrow, but the Pyrex baking dishes, 4 weeks.
Yep.
Hello?
You're like, where are they coming from? And there was a couple things
Literally.
where I looked on like a couple of them because I was like, are they coming from like out of the country? Because they do warn you sometimes where they're like, oh, like this item is coming from like outside of Canada, extended shipping times, blah, blah, blah. But I, like, looked, and pretty much everything, other than, like, 2 things, are from a Canadian warehouse. And I was like, and for what? And for what? You want me to go to the Amazon warehouse and pack my own packages? At this point, I will. Don't
Jeffrey, just send me the address, and I'll handle it.
It's taken care of, Jeffrey. Don't worry about it. Put the
I'll get my own damn mouthwash and poop bags.
But I'm so confused. And, like, there was something else about that. Oh, yeah, another weird thing. And then also some of the orders that, like, I ordered as, like, group orders. Because I tried to, like, make the shipping make sense. So I did, like, my family as one order. And then I did, like, Andrew's family as one order. Like, stuff like that. It's divided them now into, like, 3 to 4 to 5 orders per order. Which is, again, fine, as long as it's getting to my house eventually. But then, for example, for Andrew's family, because they live in Edmonton, usually if I'm getting them gifts, I'll just send it directly to their houses so they can get their stuff before Christmas. Especially, like, his nieces, or I guess our nieces. Stuff like that. So, one of those orders, like, it's like 2 things out of that order are already delivered at that house, but none of the rest of it. So now I'm like, do I need to, like, call her and be like, we didn't just get you 2 things for Christmas for 2 of your 3 kids. I promise more is coming. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. And they're already there. The order was placed on Monday. It's already there. It was there 2 days ago. I'm like, so I can get next day on, like, 2 random things for children, which you would think they'd be out of. But not, like, what else is something I bought that's, like, extremely common? Leggings. But leggings will not be here until the new year.
It's nuts.
I'm sick of it. I'm turning into the Grinch. I was excited for a bit because I was like, wow, I'm so productive. And now I'm getting a little Grinchy every day that goes by that I see my packages are being held hostage by Canada Post.
So are mine.
And
I'm
Amazon.
Pissed.
Angry.
I'm mostly mad also because I like buying things off of like Etsy or like random cutesy little websites. And you can't really do that right now. And I'm really pissed off because I'm like, I want my cutesy things.
Right?
Like, Christmas is when I buy the cutesy things.
I know. So my gifts this year are very generic. I hope people feel the love anyways. Because I'm the same way. I like to buy at least like one or two like fun novelty or cutesy things off of like Etsy or wherever else. And literally, there's like something I bought myself the first week of November that still is not here because of Canada Post.
Same. I literally shipped my niece books for her birthday, which is like at the beginning of November. Yeah, I think that those books are lost to the abyss because they haven't been received yet. And literally the tracking, because I just like buy that like you can buy like a box where it's like you shove as much shit as you want in the box, and it's like you pay $15 and like whatever you can fit in the box goes, right? Like there's no weight or whatever. So I do that usually for her, and I like just shove as much shit in there as I can. And the tracking is like gone. It's like, we do not know where this package is.
Fun.
They're like, goodbye.
That's like, so I think this is another Canada Post thing. That's like, I bought an insulated cat house because we have a stray cat outside. It's like our stray cat, but not our stray cat. He's just around, and I feed him, and I love him from a distance because he hates me. You know how it is. But I bought him a little house because it gets cold outside, and we live in a place where, you know, it gets to be minus 40, and those are not living temperatures. And genuinely, I had to contact the carrier and the person who's, like, sold me this little cat house, because I got, like, a special kind of one that's, like, double reinforced, meant for minus 40. It has a special insulation chamber. It's more accessible. It has a safety feature for cats so they don't get stuck in there, like other random things. And genuinely, they were like, oh, oops, it's been lost. And I'm like, oh, it's not just being held by Canada Post. They're like, oh, no, that bitch is gone. And I was like, oh, because I'd been waiting for so long. And it was supposed to be getting delivered from, like, Purolator or something. And I was like, okay, cool. We just don't tell anybody when we lose things. We just kind of go, eh.
Please don't notice.
Yeah, oops. It's gone forever. Don't notice. But you never know. Your box might be getting held by Canada Post, though, just held hostage, and it will one day be delivered, maybe.
I don't know. At this point, I rebought what I got her, and I'm just gonna bring it myself by plane. I'm hand delivering.
You're like, I
for everything
promise
now.
It'll make it there. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, my poor Etsy seller has been sending me messages once a week, every Friday, being like, has it arrived yet? And I have to be like, no, sorry. Because as if they knew, or I knew, that the strike was going to be happening when they sent this poor thing. And now it's something that they've made. And they're like, it's gone forever. And I was like, but maybe not. But probably. But maybe.
We have
not.
hope.
But maybe. But probably.
I
But
know.
maybe.
It sucks. I wish they could just come to an agreement. Just give the workers more money and like a livable wage and proper benefits, and we can all move on. Okay, thanks.
And I get that it's the government, and this is why it's taking
Well, it's
forever.
not.
Canada Post is the government.
Yeah, I know. They're like a crown corporation, but they're not actually government workers. They're separate from the government.
Oh, I thought they were government
'Cause
workers, technically. Yeah.
No, not technically. That's why they don't get the same benefits and wages that government workers do, which is the whole problem, right?
Well, I don't see why they wouldn't. Maybe I'm like, you know what? I am mad about it, but now for multiple reasons, I have more things to be mad about. Okay. Well, now that you've all had to listen to us rant about almost
Canadian problems.
Yeah, almost 30-year-old women Canadian problems. Here's a fun show about crime, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
so if you didn't listen to the end of our last episode, well, let me preface by I made an oopsie. And Emily had nothing to do with it this time. So hooray for her.
This time. I know it's been a while. It's almost always me.
So we were supposed to have an episode go out on like Friday the 29th. I forgot. And then I went away for the weekend and I forgot to bring my computer. So I was like, well, it's not happening. And so it's going to go out on the 6th. And then this episode is going to come out on the 10th. And then we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming the 13th. So basically, you guys just get a bonus episode this month. So you're listening to this slightly off from the Friday you would normally hear it. But that's okay. Only by a couple days. And that's just how it is. Because we got Christmas things to talk about. So we need all the Fridays we can get in December.
Facts. And we just need Fridays in general. Because it's been a rough last 3 months. The universe has just not been on our side when it comes to having time for things. But we're going to make it. For the end of 2024, we got to leave off on a good note.
Exactly. But where I was going with that is, if you didn't listen to the end of our last episode, what we're doing for the holidays this year is we are going to spell out the word Noel with our episode. So the first letter of Noel is N. So for my story this week, I'm going to be talking about, for each of my episodes this month, the letter that we're talking about is the first letter of the name of the person I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to talk about a different serial killer who was born in December.
Oh, okay. You went meta with this one. Nice.
Yes. I had some big brain thinking to do with this one. What are you going to talk about this month, Em? Just to give our listeners a little preview.
So I did not quite go to that level because that's a big brain. You had all the brain cells for that one. I have just picked a different topic that is, if you've listened to our show before, Jen does more of the crimier crimes and I do more of the maybe not so crime crimes. So I'm just spelling the word Noel using a mixture of like supernatural and mythology topics that begin with each of those letters, so that they should end up spelling Noel.
That's kind of what I thought you were going to do. So I'm glad I was, my big brain had some thoughts in it. But, yeah, we should get started. Are we doing wheel of questions?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's spin. I feel like it's been so long since we've recorded that I don't even remember how to do it anymore.
Oh my god. You're like, what do we do? There's a wheel here. What's that for? Okay, so number 3. If you made your own nation, what would you call it?
Birdtopia.
That's a good one. Would that be for a reason?
Because birds are pretty cool, man.
But would birds live there? Would you have a bee?
Well, I mean, birds live everywhere.
Huh?
I think birds live everywhere.
No, I mean, like, you actively work to have all of the birds live there.
Yes, it would be like Noah's Ark, but bird.
But it's Birdtopia and Jen just with like a giant net full of birds.
And a dome over top so they can't leave.
I was gonna say like one of those like butterfly thing, like, you know what I'm talking about, the greenhouses, but it's just full of birds. And it's the entire continent.
Yeah. And then I would find anyone who does not like birds and force them to live there just to create their personal hell.
Mm-hmm. And then you could fill it with people who look like birds too. You're like, you got kind of you give me the essence of pigeon. You gotta come and live in Birdtopia.
Yeah, I don't think I would be a malevolent leader. I think I would be like hated among everyone. Yeah. Everyone who lived in Birdtopia. I just want to be a villain.
Okay, I kind of love that for you. Oh god. See, I don't know what I would pick for a nation name. I feel like this is one of those things that I could like really dive into and be like, ooh, what essence do I want my nation to have? But in reality, I think I would just want to make a nation where people are just like, it's somewhere pretty and cool and people just relax. New Hawaii. I don't know what my nation would be.
You know what? You can be Zentopia.
I love that. Ooh, can Zentopia be by Birdtopia? So then when people are over your dictatorship, they can come out and hang out in Zentopia?
Yeah, they'll flee my country to yours.
They're like, she locked us in with the birds. We can't stay there any longer. And I'm like, nah, man, it's cool. This is Zentopia.
We offer you asylum.
We're not worried about anything in Zentopia. Not even the
There's
bird
no
dictator
birds.
next door. Don't worry about it.
No birds here. She got them all.
Yeah, and guess what? No chirping. Your PTSD
Cured.
I was gonna say flawless. That's not what I meant to say.
Oh my god, that's really funny. Yes, your PTSD flawless.
Yeah, PSD flawless. Perfect. Love that for us. All right.
Oh my god.
Spin for our next question.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, in case anybody noticed, these questions are not going to be normal for the next 4 weeks, so buckle up.
Get ready.
If you could pick somewhere on your body to a vampire... What? Never... Scratch that, reverse it. If you could pick somewhere on your body for a vampire to bite you that wasn't your neck, which body part would you pick?
Well, is the vampire sexy?
You know what's so funny? I wrote this question and I almost, in brackets, put afterwards, cannot pick ass. but then I was like, but maybe the vampire is sexy. I don't know. Let's say it's a vampire who is sexy, but not like sexy to everybody. And you know, like one of those people you meet where you're like, oh, that's attractive for somebody else. Let's just say he's like a questionably attractive vampire. Where would you let a questionably attractive vampire bite you? But it can't be your neck.
Maybe my calf.
For you, fair enough. You do have some juicy calves. I feel like you'd be doing the vampire a favor.
Yeah, I'm thinking of everyone. You know, I'm trying to appease.
You're like, I'm looking out for the
him
next
so I can
person.
lure him to
pay it
Birdtopia.
forward. One bite of my calves, you won't be hungry for a week, man.
Exactly. I was gonna say my butt if he was sexy to me, but
Yeah, right. No, I literally
since
thought about
it's
that.
questionable, I'll hold off.
Yeah. I was like, okay, if it's a hot vampire, anywhere they want, I don't care.
You pick, babe.
But for a questionably sexy vampire, or like a vampire where somebody else is like, he's so hot, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe my wrist, because I feel like I can I can decide how I feel about them from far away enough.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking about my calf, and then if he like looks at me wrong, I can just kick him in the face.
Donkey kick a vampire in the face. But my word would be that he'd be looking, or they would be looking for like an upskirt moment, because your calf is on the back.
Well, I'm wearing
it's not
pants.
the front of your body. Well, you want him to have a chunk of shin bone when he's going after you?
Yeah.
You're like, if he chips a tooth, not my problem. He can figure that out, or they can figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just give him the old college 1-2, you know what I'm saying?
Sounds great. Love that for us. Little hum and a haw.
Perfect.
Yep. All right.
Spin for the next question.
When was the last time you wrote a note, and what was it for?
Oh, I think like, let me look. Probably like yesterday.
Ooh.
It was yesterday, and it was a note of what movies I need to watch before the end of the year. There are 31.
That feels
on the
very
list.
on brand for you. What I'm about to say is very on brand for me too. The last note I wrote was a threat for my husband to put his traveling bag away, or I would put it outside.
Jesus
I literally wrote it out and I was like, dearest husband, this full travel bag has been out on the kitchen table for 3 weeks straight. If you do not put this travel bag away where it belongs, there will be dire consequences. And he literally, I'm the most, but I do stuff like this all the time. He literally read it and he's like, I can have this taken care of tonight. And I was like, then do it.
Then what are you waiting for, bitch?
Right. Which, yeah, that is pretty on brand for me. I feel like I like to be a little extra when I'm really trying to get my point across. That, and I know if I text him, he's never going to read it if he reads a mild threat text message. So.
Well, I love that for you guys. I'm not even surprised, honestly.
No, like I said, very on brand. All right, let's spin for our last question.
Spin away, Em.
In your opinion, what's the best kind of neighbor to have?
One who I never fucking see, hear, or talk to.
Literally same. I don't know. Here's my thing. I don't understand the whole people wanting to have social neighbors. I don't get it because these are not people that you've picked to be your friends. These are just people you live in the same area as. And that can also create problems. Like, what happens if you're, like, really close with your neighbor, or you see them all the time, or you talk to them all the time, and then one day they decide that they don't like you. You live beside that person. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think living in a big city has jaded me towards neighbors a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to see their fucking faces. Mm-hmm. And I want no interaction. That's my ideal situation at this point, because anytime one of those things happens, it's annoying. I'm annoyed immediately.
Mm-hmm. See,
It's never fun. You know? I've never had a good neighbor, honestly.
No, even when I was living in not like the big city as you are, but just the city, it's just something where people's lifestyles are just so different than mine, and that it's like you said, it's like if you hear them, it's never like a good hearing. It's something stupid like, oh, it's like 4 a.m. and somebody's playing the guitar, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, do you forget that we live in a society? Like, what is happening?
I think, I don't know. I prefer having no interactions with my neighbors and making my friends with people whom I choose, you know?
Amen. See, honestly, as far as like small town neighbors go, because that's kind of my situation that I live in now, I got very lucky with the neighbors I have, because we do all live very close to each other. Like, there's quite a bit of community space. Mm-hmm. But everybody has this understanding of, oh, we like each other enough, and we'll do, like if I'm outside, like, salting the sidewalk or something, I'll just, like, do my path, which is, like, because I have to walk past my neighbors, right? Like, so I'll do that and stuff, and everybody kind of takes care of each other in that sense, but without the talking and the socializing. Like, I see one
that's
of my
ideal.
Yeah, like, I'll see one of my neighbors who I get along really well with once every, like, 2 or 3 months. We'll, like, have a 20-minute conversation and catch up on stuff, and then that's it. And, like, we'll see each other in passing, but not actually stay to have a conversation. And it is wonderful. I'm like, wow, nice people I live by who are just nice people I live by. This is, like, supremely ideal. Because the last thing I would want, which I was worried about when we first moved out here, was the having people who are just, like, homebodies, who are not social homebodies, but look to create social relationships with their neighbors, like sit outside all the time and have drinks together and stuff like that. I was like, I do not want that. I want somebody who is just here because they enjoy being alone and peaceful. And that's what I got. So I am very blessed.
That's ideal for you. Honestly, right now, I live in kind of like a I would say it's like it leans older. The place I'm in right now leans older, and maybe I'm a Grinch or a bad person. I don't know, but I'm like, older neighbors are just so annoying. Like, they always want to talk, and they always want to like know what you're doing, and like are so nosy. In like the most judgmental way possible.
But this is what I mean, though. I think it's like a boredom, not being social enough, casually sort of thing. Because, for example, me, like, this is never going to be me. It's not me now. It never has been me. I'm never going to be one of those people that picks out a random person I see around my, place or around my building and just decide to, like, interrogate them about their life. I do not care enough to know. Unless this is information that we've come across naturally, go away.
Literally. I just really value my privacy, and in the city it's like one of those things that you kind of forego, for like the convenience and the more activities and stuff. Like, you have less of your own private space, you would have more if you lived in the country or whatever, right? Or like on some farm or whatever. So, like, the little privacy and, like, slice of, like, land that I do have, I very much value. And nothing grinds my gears more than someone who is just, like, so fucking bored out of their mind that they will nosy their way into any little thing that you're doing with, like, your personal space and try and, like, judge it or be like, you can't do that. And I'm like, sir, what do you care what I do inside my own home that has nothing to do with you?
It's the having opinions about nothing that has anything to do with them. I'm like, how about this? We can talk casually without you being involved in my business. How about that?
Literally, like, maybe just go away. That's my opinion.
Right? Which, like I said, again, I feel like I have the best neighbors ever right now, because it literally is just that. It's everybody only cares about what's going on in their own house, and they want to keep it that way, but they aren't against, taking care of the community spaces and still being, like, nice, decent human beings. Or, like, one of my neighbors likes to have a little hobby garden, but doesn't actually like to eat vegetables. So they'll, like, go around and leave vegetables for the neighbors and stuff. And it's things like that. I'm like, but we don't have to see each other. That's the best part. It's just stuff happens.
See, that's nice.
And I don't have to be there. And it is wonderful.
That's nice. Honestly, I would love that. My neighbors, they're, like, just so concerned with, like, hey, your tomato plant is 0.4 centimeters above the fence. Here's a $500 violation. And I'm like, hello? Like, can we...
You're like, wait for a windy day and it'll probably be blown over and sideways and be less than 5 inches under the fence line. Like, what are we worried about?
Did you come up with a ruler, or what happened here?
Genuinely, it's people who, like you said, are bored. And if you live in a condo community, there are some people who actively seek out to live in those types of communities so that they can be the local dictator. I really do fully believe that.
Yeah. It drives me bonkers. And I know it's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. And then there's this one fucking old lady with her stupid dog. And every time I try and walk past with my dog, she's like, you need to do this and this and this. And I'm like, literally, you need to shut up. I do not care about your opinion. Your dog is not well behaved. I don't want your opinion.
See, that's like, we had like a thing come up condo-wise with one of my neighbors where they wanted to plant sunflowers as like a privacy line, sort of. And they did, and then they got wrote up for it because of the same thing where it was like a little bit too tall or something. But here's the thing. The people who, or at least a couple of them who are on the board, are also some of the cool neighbors. And they literally just like walked up and they were like, yeah, they're a little too tall, but, like, if you want to put in, like, dwarf sunflowers or some of these mid-sized sunflowers, like, I'll buy you some seeds when I'm in town next. And everybody's like, hell yeah, brother. Like, it's just random stuff like that. It's like, you're not allowed to have that, but also, I kind of like what you're doing. So how about we just, like, do this instead so people aren't going to get mad? And then everybody's like, rock on. Like, that. It's just that specific thing. I'm like, you know what? Wonderful. Love that. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, not for me. I cannot wait to move.
I can't wait for you to move either. Yeah. Sobbing silently. Not so silently.
Well, here's hoping 2025 has Jen moving into far away from here.
Into the far away from here. Yep. I hope for that too.
Yep. Bless.
So, my N topic for you today is as follows. Because I am going to start with the description, like I just said. In Hawaiian mythology, the Night Marchers, or spiritual ranks, are deadly ghosts of ancient tribal Hawaiian warriors. The Night Marchers are the vanguard for a sacred king, chief, or chiefess.
That sounds sick as fuck.
Doesn't
How
it?
do I become one?
Right? It does get a little spooky, by the way, so buckle in, and I will get into my little story for you.
Alright, I'm already
On the nights honoring the Hawaiian gods Kan, Ku, and Lono, which, by the way, as per always, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing things. I genuinely do put an effort in, just so we're all clear, on Google Translate and all these different things, and I do look it up on social media, and every single time I get about 3 to 4 different ways of saying things. So I'm just going with what I can do as the person I am for the time being. I am from Alberta, Canada. This is all I can offer you.
So lower your expectations is
By
what
a
she's trying to say.
significant amount. And with that, the Hawaiian gods Kane, Ku, and Lono, or on the nights of Kanaloa, they are said to come forth from their burial sites or to rise up from the ocean and march in a large group to ancient Hawaiian battle sites or other sacred places. The legend says the Night Marchers are normal-sized warriors dressed for battle, carrying spears, clubs, and some are beating war drums and blowing tones from conch shells to announce the arriving of their march. According to the myth, they are suspended in air and their feet do not touch the water or the ground as they traverse through the night, and they leave no evidence of their visitations. They march in darkness after sunset and march as a group continuously until just before sunrise. Anyone living along their path may hear chanting, sounds of blown conch shell tones, and marching noises in the night. Their following signs are foul and a musky, death-like odor, and the torches getting brighter and brighter as the night marchers get closer. Night marchers might also appear during the day if they are escorting a dying relative to the spirit world. So pretty cool, right?
Yeah, very cool.
Ancient Hawaiian beliefs state that any mortal looking upon or being seen in defiance towards the marchers will die violently. Barriers placed in the path of the night marchers will not deter them, and some people maintain that if a mortal lies motionless face down on the ground, they are showing proper respect, fear, and deference to the night marchers, and they will be spared. Additionally, mortals can avoid harm or death from night marchers by being fortunate enough to have an ancient ancestor marcher present who can recognize them. As they encounter the mortal, they will call out Na'u, or Na'u, not totally sure, which means mine in Hawaiian. No one in the warrior procession will then harm them. The legend says planting tea, which is a species of cordyline shrubs, around one's home is said to keep away all evil spirits and will cause the Huakai Po to avoid the area. The night marchers are said to walk through houses with doors and back doors placed in a straight line. The ceremony and the conduct of the march are customized to the tastes of the honored warrior leader. A Hawaiian king or chief is known to be fond of music, or a Hawaiian king or chief that is known to be fond of music will be honored with much drumming and chanting, and if the king or chief enjoyed peace and quiet, the march will be silent as possible. Further, if the king or chief did not like to walk around much, he would be carried in a sling by the warriors. And in ancient Hawaiian lore, the laws declared body parts of a king or chief to be sacred and not to be seen by mortals. The punishment for looking at these parts is always instant death, usually by bolts of intense light and flaming heat originating from several of the warrior's eyes aimed towards the mortal. The violating mortal is incinerated instantly and the bodily remains will dissipate into vapors. And if a king or chief's face was not supposed to be observed, The king or chief would lead the assembled night marchers from the front. If his back was not to be looked upon, he would be in the back of the assembled group. However, for some chiefs, no part of them was forbidden to look at by mortals, and these chiefs would walk among the warriors of their group. And some marches are even joined by the Hawaiian gods. The torches are said to burn brighter in these marches, and the largest torches are carried with one at the front and one in the back, and 3 within the group. The number 5 is significant in Hawaiian mythology, and the night marchers with gods present in the night marches with Hawaiian gods present, there are 6 gods, 3 male, 3 female. The goddess named Heiakai I Ka Polai Ipele, commonly shortened to Heiakai, is often within the night marchers, and the composition of the night marchers are extremely varied. So, I know that was a big blurb of text. Basically, I think it's a really beautiful... I know it says mythology in certain parts, but obviously when we're talking about stories related to people's cultural beliefs, it goes a little bit further than that. But I think that this is mostly rooted in deep respect, which I honestly really enjoy. And yes, it is freaky.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're immortal and you happen to see this even by accident, you're gonna die. That is really freaky. But, like... honestly,
not the best.
Not the best. But I do love, like, the little integrations of, like, the chieftain or king's personalities literally integrated into, like, their journey into the afterworld. And, like, I don't know. It's really beautiful.
So spooky, but also kind of sweet.
Right? So, I know what you're thinking. You want to know more about what happens with people who are spotted by the night marchers or who accidentally see the night marchers. Because it has to happen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, the night marcher's job wasn't to terrorize people. And I'm saying that because even though, like I said, it's kind of like, okay, you get literally, like, annihilated with a bolt of light if you see these. That's not really the point. The point is you're honoring and showing respect for somebody who's passed away. That's basically it. The night marchers are kind of just a reinforcement of that, I think. So that's not really what they're there for, is to be something super scary. It's just simply to protect the sacred high-ranking chiefs, and it also depends on the kapu status. The chiefs marched in the front or behind the procession, like I just talked about, and the night marchers showed mercy by traveling at night to spare people from harm. And this is a quote from storyteller Lopaka Kapunoi? I'm not totally sure. Says, and it's easy to tell if night marchers are approaching, he says. They carry torches and they march to the thunderous sound of drums. They will give warning by conch shells, and you'll know then it's time to run and hide. So that's, like, another big part of it that I really like, is that the whole reason that they travel at night or do these different things is because they don't want to harm people. I think the idea is more that if you accidentally see a night marcher, like, accidents do happen, but this is more so directed towards people who are not showing their due respect for the people who've passed away. In which,
right,
if bolts of light are striking down disrespectful people, I'm kind of like, I don't really mind that, I think.
Yeah. It's, not the worst scenario.
Not the worst. Yeah, exactly. So, if you're already in the path of the Night Marcher's trail, legend dictates you must... So here's another thing, too. And I know what I'm about to say sounds crazy, but it is one of the different variations that I've seen. And I don't know if, in part, this is people being dramatic, because I will say the one consistency in these stories is that if you do see the Night Marchers, lying face down on the ground with, like, your hands over top the back of your head, not looking at them, is, like, the safest bet. But people like to take things to another level sometimes. So, in some of these...
They always do, don't they?
As they do. So in some of these iterations of the legend, it dictates that you must strip naked and lie face down. And in some variations, they also say that peeing on yourself while you're doing that will keep you alive. Which is why I prefaced with that, because I kind of feel like that's maybe... And I could totally be wrong. If there is somebody who's listening who knows more about Polynesian culture and customs and that kind of thing. I would love to know. But I do feel like lying face down naked and peeing yourself is more of like an embarrassment thing than it is a thing to keep the night marchers away. And I've only seen that in like one or two sources. So
So it's questionable.
Very questionable. So, but whatever you decide to do, either way, you never look at them. And if you're lucky enough to share a bloodline with somebody who marches in the procession, then you will supposedly be saved. But that is basically my story for you about who the night marchers are and what they represent and all that.
So you gotta have good genes and good lineage. Got it.
You gotta be respectful and got good genes. That's all you need. That's all we got.
And then you'll be safe.
And then you'll be good, yeah.
That's a very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How do they rank for you among mythology?
How do they rank for me among mythology?
Yeah, honestly, the night marchers.
As far as mythology goes, if we're talking like stories of like spiritual processions, that is something that actually comes up a lot, because there's also I've covered this in a past episode. I actually think this would have been our last year's Christmas episode. There is in North mythology, sure, that too. Norse mythology, oh my god, I know what they're called. It's on the tip of my tongue. But basically, it's a similar idea where there are spirits. Oh, the hunt, I believe it's called the something hunt.
Oh yeah,
the wild hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is also another group of spirits or ghosts, depending on which variation you're reading, who have different types of tasks, and either they're out hunting for spirits or doing these types of things. I personally do really enjoy the idea of there being a community almost of spirits or ghosts or what have you after people die who kind of like have roles. Because, I don't know, to me it always sounds beautiful. And then a lot of them it's meant to be scary. Like the Wild Hunt stories are also kind of it's similar to the Night Marchers in a sense, where if you see them, it's like a bad omen and like these types of things. But in a way, like I said, it is probably one of the prettier myths, I suppose, like myth types. Because, like I said, it's like a community thing, and they usually have a job, and they're there to do something specifically, and the only reason that something bad happens is usually because somebody's being disrespectful or like being not a good person, and I don't know. I like them.
Moral of the story: don't be a dick, and you'll be fine.
Yes, don't be a dick. Always be polite, and I think that's just a good life lesson. I think
so too.
Hell
All right. Well, should we get into my story then, Em?
Yes, take it away, Jen.
Speaking of people who are disrespectful.
As we do.
So, like I said, I'm covering, for each letter, I'm covering a different serial killer who was born in the month of December. So today we're going to talk about Niels Högel, who was born in the coastal town of Wilhelmshaven, Lower Saxony in West Germany. My German isn't great. I'll just say it outright. So,
again,
excuse some of the pronunciation. I'm doing my best.
You're like Albertan Canadian. You've heard our French people. Apparently, they don't even speak real French. It's a mess over here.
Yeah, so just, again, expectations should be on the floor.
Beneath the floor. Within the floor.
In hell with the devil.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, pretty much. I knew he was going to show up at some point.
So, his father worked as a nurse at their local hospital, and his mother worked as a paralegal. Niels had one sibling, an older sister, and has said that he had a sheltered or protected childhood and was not exposed to violence at home. His grandma also worked as a nurse, and so he decided to take up the family occupation as you do, and went on to become a nurse as well. He completed his vocational training in 1997. Great year, by the way. Best year.
To some.
at the same local hospital that his father worked at. And once he was done studying, he became a nurse and continued working there. From 1999 onwards, Niels was employed at the Oldenburg Clinic, stationed in its cardiac surgery intensive care unit, Ward 211. In August 2001, doctors and medical orderlies at the hospital held a meeting, which he was in attendance of, and they were discussing an unusual spike in both resuscitations and deaths during the preceding months. Coincidentally, 58% of these incidents were found to have occurred while Niels was on duty. So strange.
Extreme
Very strange.
coincidence.
Yes. After the meeting, our guy was a little freaked out. He was a little uneasy, not sure why, you know. But he ended up calling in sick for the duration of 3 weeks during that time. And while he was off, only 2 patients in his ward had died, which was significantly fewer than they had prior to his sick leave. Another crazy coincidence.
That's not at all suspicious.
Yeah, not at all. So, under pressure by Ward 211's head physician, he was like, you know what? I'm a dip. And he was transferred to the anesthesiology ward in 2001. Soon, the anesthesiology ward's head physician became suspicious of how Niels was frequently present in emergency situations. In September 2002, the Oldenburg Clinic's head physician confronted Niels after multiple patients under his care had been found in life-threatening conditions for seemingly inexplicable reasons. It was suggested that he either resign his position at the clinic and continue to receive full wages for another 3 months, or transfer to the clinic's logistics unit where he would assist in moving patients throughout the hospital. Which honestly, I'm like, you're gonna just let him move on because you're suspicious of him? That seems a little negligent, in my opinion.
A little bit, and also kind of like avoiding the problem. They're like, we know something's up, but honestly, who has time to deal with that?
Go be someone else's problem for a while.
Basically, that's what it sounds like, which, yeah, hell yeah, is just super negligent.
On October 10th, 2002, Niels received a reference letter issued by the Oldenburg Clinic's director of nursing. Therein, she testified to Niels' circumspect, diligent, and autonomous work ethic, as well as having acted prudently in an objective, correct manner in critical situations. She also praised his devotedness and cooperative conduct. The letter concluded with an overall assessment of Niels having completed the assigned tasks to the utmost satisfaction. So this lady was delusional.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what this feels like? I know clearly this didn't happen, but it feels like when you pay, or like when you're looking at like something online and you can tell that they paid for a review.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
wow, it's like, best product I've ever ordered, changed my life. You cannot live without it. Must like order right now.
Where you're like, wow, this sounds good. Almost too good.
What's going on here?
Yeah, what's the catch?
So in December 2002, Niels transferred to the Dilmenhorst Clinic, where emergencies and fatalities, mostly due to arrhythmia or sudden decreases in blood pressure, began spiking while he was on duty. Again, so strange. Just the strangest coincidence.
So strange.
So this led to some of Niels' co-workers distancing themselves from him, and led to some of his superiors becoming suspicious. Although his superiors were suspicious, unfortunately they didn't act on their gut feeling about him, even after they discovered 4 empty vials in his ward of agmaline, which I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. But basically it's a drug used like in the cardiac world that works by blocking sodium channels in the heart, which helps to regulate the heart's electrical activity. So the empty vials were found in spite of no doctor having prescribed any such medication at the time.
Clearly that's
which would be a huge red flag,
obviously,
you know?
But clearly not suspicious enough. Is it a red flag? Obviously. But also...
But they're like, but I'm also not going to do anything.
Enough. I have so many things. I have so many opinions with your stories. I don't know how they happen.
It's like, people are like, I could do something. Or not.
Or not. Yeah, or somebody else could do something.
I'm sure someone else will figure it out.
Yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff. Not a fan.
Yeah. So our guy married in 2004, and in July 2004, his daughter was born. To sustain this euphoria and his feeling of happiness from his daughter's birth, he later admitted to injecting a severely ill intensive care patient with a toxic agent during his first night on duty after her birth. Just for fun. Because he's like, you know what, gotta keep these good vibes going.
Wait. You were like, he's so happy about his child being born, he just had to go kill someone? Like, the next day? He's like, it just felt so good watching my baby be born. I just had to kill someone. What?
Like I said, gotta keep those good vibes going.
Gotta keep the party going, man. These good vibes can last forever.
On July 22nd, 2005, colleagues were starting to catch on to him intentionally manipulating a patient's syringe pump to improperly administer the cardiac drug that I was talking about, the one that was found empty on his floor. And the incident prompted the Dilmenhorst police to open an investigation into him, and multiple of his coworkers came forward to voice their suspicions that he was behind numerous complications, resuscitations, and unexplained deaths at their hospital. The extensive police investigation that followed these allegations examined all the deaths at the hospital between 2003 and 2005. Like, imagine how many deaths that is.
2 years of this guy just getting his sick thrills from murdering people?
At like 3 different hospitals.
Yeah, like...
Every death had to be investigated.
Literally. That is so many people.
That is so many people. So, and it revealed that the number of deaths at just the one in Dilmenhorst clinic had doubled during his employment there.
Oh my god, really? That's crazy. I wonder why.
It's crazy. Such a coincidence.
In
2005, 73% of deaths could be connected to him and his work schedule. Just take that in.
I love that it's added work schedule. They're like so weird. From 9 to 5, just like double the death. Just double
People are
the
just
death.
Fucking dropping.
Yeah, tripling. They just... stressful time of the day for them, I guess. It has nothing to do with this guy who happens to work all of those hours. This is like... I feel like I just end up sounding like a broken record all the time when you share these stories, because it's people notice these things and then they're like, but also, is it a coincidence? Hard to say.
So these findings were subsequently forwarded to the Oldenburg District Attorney's Office, and he was arrested in the summer of 2005. Thank God, finally.
Yeah, finally.
And in December 2006, the German Regional Court sentenced him to 5 years in prison and an employment ban of the equal length for attempted voluntary manslaughter.
5? He killed way more than 5 people. He gets to spend 5 years in jail.
Oh, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Don't worry. This one has a appropriate sentence coming.
Okay.
A joint plaintiff appealed the verdict, and a higher court subsequently reversed it. In June 2008, he was given a 7.5-year prison sentence as well as a lifelong employment ban. So we're getting better, but we're not quite there yet. And from January 2014 onward, the Oldenburg District Attorney's Office initiated another investigation into the incidences at Dilmenhorst Clinic. In September 2014, he was charged with 3 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. After confessing to the charges, he stated that he had committed an additional 30 murders. So he's just like, yeah, but also I killed 30 extra people that you didn't know about. So like, okay, cool. And
he's like,
the patient's
I killed 30 more people. See you in 5 years.
7.5.
Oh yeah.
The patient's deaths were caused by him administering 90 unauthorized injections. 60 patients were successfully resuscitated. And on February 28th, 2015, the German regional court sentenced him to life in prison. So they're like, you know what? 7.5 years, not enough.
I like how they look at this guy, and he's like, oh, yeah, I've been killing people for a few years now, just off the cuff, gotta get my, just doing my tricks, all these things. The numbers just keep going up, and they're like, maybe you need to be there forever.
Yeah, so that sentence became official on March 2015, and they were kind of like still looking into it because they're like, if there's this many, there's probably more, right? So they ended up going back and making a whole special commission called Cardio. And the whole point of Cardio was to examine everything this bitch did. They were like, we are exhuming over 200 bodies across 67 different cemeteries, and we're figuring this shit out.
Is this not so much more work than if they just decided to give a shit way earlier on?
Literally.
Like, oh, let's exhume 200 bodies. When, like, 2 years ago, they were like, yeah, we got this guy who he keeps, like, we find drugs on him and empty bottles and triple the death every time he's in, but who's to say? Who is to say?
So the Special Task Force Cardio got to work on that. They're exhuming bodies left, right, and center. And basically they were able to prove at least 37 of the ones that they were able to actually autopsy. Because the problem was, by the time they got to this, a lot of them had already been cremated or were like too far gone to even like figure anything out. Mm-hmm. So they're like, okay, well, we figured this out, but this is really only the tip of the iceberg. But in Germany at the time, he had basically, there was no death sentence. So he had gotten the max sentence that he could get. Like, he's in there for life.
Yeah, like,
there's not really more they can do.
Yeah.
Other than, provide some explanation to the families, as they should. Mm-hmm. So in November 2017, the total number of victims attributed to Niels was revised and increased to 106, with suspicious deaths still under investigation. In January 2018, German prosecutors charged him with murder of 97 patients and announced their intention to file charges against the other hospital staff who failed to act. Which, honestly, good.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
As they should.
Well, that's the thing. Here's my thing. If you are seeing somebody every day and you work with a weird person who just happens to have like these weird other things go on, you know that something's going on. And if you don't say something,
as a healthcare person, I feel like you really have to be diligent about that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
It's literally life and death.
Yeah, literally. And it's care. It's like, that's the whole profession. It's like, that is your job, and you work with somebody who, admittedly, to lots of people, had triple or double or significant more deaths happen while they were working. People noticed. They noticed.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So, prosecutors claimed that Niels wanted to impress colleagues by reviving patients he had previously attacked. The police reported that he had made use of multiple drugs and used excessive doses of those drugs, which would cause cardiac arrhythmia and severe drops in blood pressure, which obviously led to rapid psychological deterioration in patients who were already unwell. He was found guilty on 85 separate murder charges and not guilty on 15 further murder charges. And in 2019, forensic psychiatric evaluation had that he has been described as having combined personality disorder, being narcissistic, dissocial, and compulsive. He has a strong need for recognition, up to being historic, with a desire for excitement, thrill, and action, and remarkable lack of empathy. He had neither feelings of guilt nor shame nor remorse, and the chances of a successful therapy were very, very low. A trial against a former supervisor of his commenced in February 2022 in Oldenburg, but according to the prosecution, the accused suspected Niels' involvement in the patient's deaths but neglected to take action in order to protect the reputation of their hospitals. They were acquitted in September 2022 after both prosecution and defense moved for such a verdict. So, I think that's kind of BS in my opinion. I feel like supervisors especially should be held accountable for that shit when they notice it going on. But it is what it is.
But again, speaking as, like, just a person who's been in a working industry for X amount of time, like, if you have weird coworkers or you're, like, meant to be responsible for somebody who you notice is doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, like, and not to say, like, sure, maybe some things fly under the radar if you have somebody who's, like, particularly sneaky or good at hiding, like, how shitty they are. But you do...
But he wasn't.
You notice at least the little things. And not addressing those types of things just leads to, like, way bigger problems. And it definitely, like you said, is a responsibility thing. Like, you still, at the end of the day, are responsible for these people.
If, as a supervisor, if you notice every time one particular employee works, the deaths increase at the hospital by 73%... I'm sorry, but how the fuck do you not know something bad's going on?
But that's what I mean, though. Even, like, so between Jen and I, we have friends who work in healthcare, and I've heard stories where it's, like, maybe there's, like, a particular bed that has, like, a history where, like, if anybody goes and, like, gets a surgery done and ends up in that bed, like, for some reason, people end up dying a lot in that bed, and there's a lot of, like, you know... like stories almost, I guess. But if it's circling around a person where you're like, oh, anytime broski clocks into work, this happens, that ceases to be a coincidence.
Yeah. But that is my tale for you today. That wraps up the N on Noel for this one. Yep. We'll look forward to O next week.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, all we got left is OL. Looking forward to it.
OEL.
OEL. Looking forward to it. Yep. Oh, I'm tired. Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to add about your story here before we get into the end of show notes?
No, I think that wraps her up in a nice little bow under the tree.
If you like today's episode, please leave us a review on wherever you're listening to podcasts. I did see that there are people leaving reviews on our podcast. It is like 2 stars, but that's okay. We love you anyways. And also fair if you have to listen to us rant for the first 20 minutes. I understand. But if you like us, feel free to leave a review. Or not, I guess. Just leave a review, it's fine. Do whatever you want. It's your world, Pookie.
Slay.
Slay. We also have our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com if you want to check us out on there. Our email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com. We have our social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Wheel of Crime. And we have our Patreon, which is Wheel of Crime on Patreon. And then, lastly, we do still keep that listener story submission document open on all of our social media. If you listen to any of our episodes and would like to share a story of your own, you can upload it on there.
Yes, that's it. That's all. And we'll see you next week for another new episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.